Hey everyone, I'm going to be teaching you from behind the screen here, kind of like the Wizard of Oz, because I want to share something with you that is very clarifying about our final cumulative essay and can make a huge difference for you straight away. And this is something that's illustrated in Bloom's taxonomy. What this fellow did was create a handy little model which shows how we get to the point where we're able to create something, which in this case, obviously, for your final essay, is to come up with a thesis or a main idea that you can argue and prove. And again, the proof doesn't have to be 100%, but one that is certainly probable and worth considering. What do I mean by that? We'll come back to it. First, let's climb up our pyramid here, which you may notice looks a bit like that symbol on the back of our dollar bill. We're at the summit. We've got that eyeball with the light coming out of it because that's where the illumination, the big idea happens. All right. How does this taxonomy work? Well, each stage builds upon another as we go through a creative process. And of course, at the beginning, we're just familiarizing ourselves with the territory where we learn to remember. For example, if we're talking about creation mythology, which we've been studying a fair amount, we can recall the facts and the basic concepts about it across cultures. Now, there's an amount to recall here for this final essay because you're comparing, contrasting three mythic narratives that share the same universal archetype across three different, uniquely different cultures. So, for example, let's say we're talking about how death came into the world. This is a myth theme that recurs across many different cultures. In fact, we all have to deal with the reality of death. And so it's not surprising it's so common, yes? Let's say that you wanted to work with an Australian Aborigine version of how death came into the world, an ancient Greek version, and one from among the Hopi, the Native American Indian tribe. Uh, when we work with them, we're applying the knowledge that we've gathered about creation mythos and also what we've learned from our research. This is an essay where you really want to dig in to not just your sources, but scholarly commentary upon it. There's so much to learn from a psychological, anthropological, religious, historical, archaeological, ethnographical perspective. All these things weave together in helping us make these arguments. Now, talking about that research brings us to the level, of course, of understanding, where we can explain ideas or concepts. For example, we have an understanding of what creation myths are talking about, and they talk about a lot of things. But also, we get to the point where we can identify creation symbolism when we see it in art, like we did in our module on creation symbolism, where you went and you chose art from, I don't know, from the Sistine Chapel ceiling to stuff that you found on the internet that utilized creation symbolism. And so when you understand something, you can go and you can apply it. Again, in this case, you're choosing images which capture creation symbolism in them, and you demonstrate or interpret how that's the case. And you can even take it further and begin to analyze by drawing connections among ideas. So not only have you applied it where you use the information in a new situation, you can draw the connections among things. You can compare and contrast, distinguish, question, experiment, differentiate. You're starting to get nimble with your thinking. Your ideas are clarifying so you can see the distinctions among things. And when you get to that point, you can take the next step and evaluate. This is the stage where uh, art reviews, for example, work. It's where you give judgments or you defend a stand that you've taken. You are able to critique. It's as if you're looking down from a height at this point, and you've begun to master the language of it, the ideas of it. It starts becoming flexible in your hands. So, evaluation is a crucial level to get with your final essay. And then once you've gotten a foothold there, you can take the final step and actually create something. Now, um, when we produce new or original work in writing of this sort, we're mainly doing it by having a big idea, an insight, something that either we come up with ourselves or that maybe we get from Carl Jung, his psychology, or maybe we get it from some of the research that we've been doing where we find an explanation of such power that it helps to illuminate the territory of the myths. In other words, it unpacks the meaning and the function of the myth. That's the aim. And we'll all climb as high as we can get in this pyramid. But it's good to know where you can get to with this assignment. This isn't merely comparing, contrasting, but it's getting so that you can begin to interpret the meaning of the myths across different cultures. What's its universal function? What's its pedagogical function? What about cultural? Yeah. Can we unpack the symbol here and its richness and offer an interpretation for its unique meaning? Okay, I hope that's helpful. Please feel free to write or make an appointment to speak with me if you want to brainstorm or if you have any questions. Okay, guys, good luck.